Welcome to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. Our recap today is about The Crossing, which begins with an investigator named Jad and his friend Rodrigo. By chance, the two of them come across a body lying by the sea late at night. They try to figure out the cause of death and check if there are any strange marks, but they're shocked to discover it's not just one body. There are three more lying on the sand beside it. Jad and Rodrigo rush over, stunned and confused, trying to drag the bodies away from the water in case any of them are still alive and need help. They actually find a little girl with a faint pulse. Jad grabs her, frantic and tense, trying to revive her and give her CPR, shouting in fear for her life. At the same time, he tells Rodrigo to call the rescue team immediately. Then, they witness a scene no one could comprehend or even believe. The sea is full of human corpses in a terrifying way, and every wave brings more bodies to the shore. They stand there, shocked, unable to control their nerves. Soon, the rescue team arrives quickly with their equipment, and they start pulling everyone out of the water, trying to tell the living from the dead. National security aircraft circle above to film the site and assess the scale of the disaster, trying to understand what's going on because the situation is completely out of control. The whole world is turning upside down, and all the media outlets arrive at the scene. No one can handle these horrific sights or keep it together. Even fishing boats and ships join the rescue team to help carry the bodies because there are just too many for the rescue team to handle alone, no matter how hard they try. They carefully check every body in case anyone is still alive and can be saved and taken to the hospital. There are a few survivors, which gives everyone hope in the midst of this catastrophe, and they're incredibly grateful to have a second chance. They thank God that someone saved their lives at the last moment. Sadly, they're devastated for their loved ones who died in the water before their eyes and couldn't be saved. Many of them cry all night, completely broken. The rescue team works like this for long hours, without rest or stopping, until they're sure they've pulled every body from the water and done everything they could. After careful counting, which took a huge effort, they determined there are about 400 bodies and only 47 survivors, the rest all drowned. Jad wonders what could have happened to cause such a disaster, with all these people dying at once. Rodrigo tells him he checked all the bodies, and not a single one was wearing a life jacket, which is extremely strange and means there's a big, dangerous mystery they need to uncover. The police investigate the case for a long time, looking for any clue, but they don't find any damaged ships in the sea. They can't find any leads, so they ask for help from all relevant authorities to try to get to the truth. All officials confirm there are no crashed planes or ships in the entire area, which means these people didn't have a maritime accident as expected. At that point, everyone is focused on one question. Why were these victims in the sea, and who threw them there like this? Jad decides to investigate on his own because he can't sleep or calm down. He goes into the tent where the survivors are to talk to them and find out the truth. The first person he sees is the little girl he saved the night before. He talks to her for a bit, trying to reassure her and make her feel safe. He asks if she remembers anything that happened before she fell into the water and drowned, urging her to help him with any clue, no matter how small. The girl tells him she doesn't remember anything except her mother, and that they were together at the bottom of the sea. Her mother kept pushing her with all her strength to get her to the shore and save her from death until she passed out. When she woke up, Jad was in front of her. She searched for her mother among the bodies but couldn't find her. Jad keeps asking the same question. Where exactly did they come from? Strangely, the girl doesn't say anything useful or specific. She shocks him when she says they were fleeing from war, that they were escaping. Of course, Jad doesn't understand what war she means or who's fighting whom, so he tries to get more details from her and dig deeper until a man behind her repeats the same story with the same details. Their country had a major war, and it's coming here soon too. Jad doesn't believe him at all, thinking they're suffering from trauma and that what happened made them hallucinate and talk nonsense. He tries to comfort and calm them as much as he can. The next morning, the police send a huge number of their best investigators to look deeper into the case and gather as much information as possible from any source. They talk to every survivor one by one, recording their fingerprints to identify them. Here comes the big shock that leaves all the investigators and police unable to comprehend or believe what's happening. Every survivor they register says the same thing. Their ages are all dated in the future, about 150 years ahead of the present time. That means they came from the future, carrying a dangerous secret no one can explain. One survivor tells them that in the future, life is very strange and there's a well-known organization called Apex. All its members have undergone genetic modification, which made them much stronger than ordinary people with extraordinary abilities and immense physical and mental strength. The main goal of the organization is to accelerate human evolution in a faster and better way than normal. Every year, here, they select a certain number of ordinary people and apply these modifications to them, completely changing their lives. They never go back to how they were before. Of course, the government can't stand up to this organization or stop it, because Apex funds the country with huge amounts of money and provides massive resources. They target poor people who have no support or anyone to stand up for them. The survivors say they were escaping from the organization because it was carrying out terrifying mass killings. The 400 people agreed one day to make a big plan to escape, no matter the cost. Unfortunately, the plan failed in the end, and they all died. The reason behind this whole catastrophe is the Apex organization, and the strangest part, they used an advanced machine for time travel to escape the future and return to the present, hoping to be safe. But a major problem suddenly happened with the machine. It malfunctioned during transport. Instead of bringing them exactly to the location they chose, it dropped them somewhere completely different, far from their plan. They suddenly found themselves in the middle of the sea, and with the strong waves, a huge number of them drowned until the police spotted them and managed to rescue the rest. Even though none of the police actually believed their story or this strange tale, at the same time they had no other option, because all the survivors told the exact same details without any differences in their accounts. After recording all this information in detail, they reported everything they'd learned to their superiors. Meanwhile, the little girl seemed off. She suddenly left everyone and went to stand alone at the shore, crying and searching for her mother. Suddenly, we discover her mother is still alive. She wakes up on a small fishing boat and realizes the fisherman saved her life at the last moment. The woman remembers everything that happened before she passed out, how they were drowning in the depths, how she tried to save her daughter by any means, pushing her up with all her strength to get her to the surface and give her a chance to live. But she herself sank deeper and couldn't get out or save herself. Luckily, the fishermen saw her just in time and pulled her onto their boat. They took her back to shore, offered her food, and tried to comfort her. While there, she saw the news on TV and heard about the discovery of 400 bodies in the sea. She also heard Detective Jad describing what happened in detail. Fear and terror appeared on her face, and she stayed anxious and tense, thinking about her daughter. We go back to Jad, who finishes his TV interview and decides to drive back to the shore to gather new evidence. Before he even starts the car, he's shocked to find a woman sitting in the back seat pointing a gun at him. It turns out she's the mother of the little girl, the same woman who'd just been with the fisherman. She threatens him seriously, demands he take her to the shore, and insists she needs to see the bodies herself to be sure. He takes her to the abandoned factory where the bodies are stored, but he doesn't know how to get her inside, since the security office controls the place completely. Strangely, this woman is incredibly smart and quick-witted. She comes up with a flawless plan in seconds to get past security unnoticed. Finally, they get inside. She pressures Jad, demanding he create a distraction and sabotage the main power switch. When the power goes out, the security officers are forced to go fix the problem. She seizes the chance, sneaks into the factory alone, and starts frantically searching among the bodies, terrified she'll find her daughter among them. Jad notices she's only focusing on the children's bodies, so he tries to figure out exactly who she's looking for. When she confirms her daughter isn't there, she breaks down, threatens him with the gun again in a hysterical state, and demands to know where the missing bodies are, insisting there are others still unaccounted for. Her fear starts to ease and she's overjoyed, hoping her daughter is among the missing, but her attention slips for just a few seconds. Jad seizes the opportunity, attacks her quickly, snatches the gun, and threatens her, telling her not to move or do anything reckless. Suddenly, the security team hears the noise and storms in, weapons drawn. None of them expect this woman to have such incredible abilities. In a flash, she attacks Jad, easily takes the gun back, then goes after a security officer, knocks him out, trips another, and escapes at amazing speed into the darkness. Jad is stunned to see her moving with unnatural agility and speed, leaping from place to place. In the end, she breaks a window and jumps out like a superhero. Jad stands frozen, unable to move from the shock of what he's seen. Later, when the police receive the report, they come and review the security camera footage over and over, amazed at her superhuman strength and strange flexibility. The female detective watching the video remembers what the survivors said and tries to connect the dots, thinking maybe this woman really does have powers, and maybe all their stories are true after all. Jad tells her the situation is much bigger than they think, because the woman was able to break the fuses in his car easily and without any harm, which means she has terrifying power and is almost unstoppable. The detective calls her boss and explains everything in detail, warning that another disaster could happen. One of the survivors confirmed they weren't the only ones who traveled through time, that there are many more groups, and that someone else had already traveled before and is now living among them. Meanwhile, the woman stands at the shore, lost in deep thought about her daughter, until a strange man sneaks up behind her, attacks her with a weapon, and threatens her for her money, unaware he picked the wrong target. She breaks his bones, leaving his face covered in blood until the ambulance comes to take him away, and then she disappears completely, searching for a safe place to hide from the police. By chance, she hides in an old car warehouse where she finds a book about cars. Being so smart, she quickly absorbs all the information, keeps it in her mind, builds a car with her own hands, gathers some weapons, and drives off the next morning to look for her daughter. After a few hours, she spots a police car nearby and sees Jad inside. We learn that an officer saw her car on the road, got suspicious, and reported it. That's why Jad orders his men to follow her car and see where she's going. The young officer pulls over, gets out to search the car, and carefully checks the woman's papers. She senses danger, quickly tries to grab her weapon, and when the officer gets closer, she decides to escape, speeding off like a maniac. The officer chases her, trying to stop her any way he can, and quickly alerts Jad. They pursue her for a long time until they find the car parked on the side of the road with the door open. The officer searches it, but is frustrated that she escaped right under his nose, wondering how she vanished so suddenly with no trace, even though there's a high wall all around and it should have been impossible to escape. Strangely, the woman goes to the police station herself, and Jad is shocked. The first time he sees her in front of him, he has no idea what she wants or why she's here. She explains she's searching for her daughter and is ready to turn the whole country upside down to find her. In the end, he feels sorry for her and decides to help, taking her to the place where the survivors are hiding. He tells her all the survivors are in an abandoned location under the security office's control, but it turns out he's tricking her. They both enter the place and she's surprised to find it empty. She keeps following him until he waits for the right moment and locks her in a room. He shuts the door on her, and she gets furious, trying to shoot him, but this time Jad is prepared and she can't get to him. He's relieved he finally caught her and calls the female detective, offering to work together to solve this case as fast as possible. He believes he's the right person for the job since this area is his turf, and no outsider should take advantage and get promoted at his expense. He sends her his location and asks her to come. The detective rushes out onto the road, but suddenly sees two national security aircraft heading in the same direction. It turns out her phone was being monitored, and all her calls were overheard by national security, who now know Jad's location and arrive before her. Jad is shocked when he sees them barging in and tries to act fast, but it's too late. They move quicker than him and fill the place with smoke grenades until Jad passes out. Security forces storm inside, trying to open the door to get the woman, but no one realizes the disaster waiting for them inside. Luckily for them, the woman is affected by the smoke and gets weak. As soon as they approach her, she pretends to faint, waits for the right moment, then attacks with her weapon, taking them out one by one and destroying the place with brutal force. When she sees more forces coming, she escapes quickly, forced to jump into the water, and disappears without a trace. We learn that the security chief is behind all of this, having set up the plan after the detective spoke to him and he sensed danger, wanting to contain the situation as fast as possible. We discover that the day before, he secretly met with one of the survivors, the same person who told the detective that others had time traveled before. They talk for a while and the young man explains everything that happened and is happening, confirming that people from the future have been living among them for a long time, unnoticed, and that they came with a very evil plan. If they succeed, they'll change the course of the world and might even destroy humanity. Here's the twist. The security chief confesses to him that he's one of those people. Then the chief locks him up and hides him in a secret place, afraid the truth will get out. He goes to speak with his partner, terrified that one of the Apex organization is among the survivors, and worried his secret will be exposed after all these years. It turns out his partner knows everything about him, has been helping him for a long time, and knows exactly who he is. Together, they try to stop Apex from ruining their plan, so they decide to catch this woman as soon as possible and eliminate her. At this moment, the security chief doesn't know that one of the survivors has revealed a very dangerous secret, that in the year 2187, the Apex organization will create a virus called Mantle, which will spread rapidly among people, killing anyone infected within seconds. Later, the organization develops the virus so it only affects ordinary people who lack superhuman abilities. The real shock is that the little girl turns out to be infected with the same virus. After multiple tests, they confirm this horrific news, and nobody knows how to deal with the virus or what to do next. Meanwhile, her mother escapes security and finds a safe place, trying to remove the bullet she was hit with. The police easily track her location and send new forces to arrest her, but when they arrive, there's no trace of her. She leaves a bloody message on the mirror, threatening them. At this point, she reaches the forest, trying to endure her pain, but suddenly her shoulder heals in seconds as if she was never injured. The chief is furious when he finds out and orders his partner to surround the forest from all sides. By chance, the woman overhears their plan and hides where no one can see her, watching from afar. After they search the area thoroughly, one of them finds a bloodied cloth on the ground. Before he can alert the team, she attacks, choking him until he passes out. His boss senses something's wrong and orders the rest to search the area. They find their teammate lying on the ground, and just then, the woman attacks, fighting with all her strength. None of them can handle her. She uses one of them as a shield, making him take all the bullets to protect herself, and kills all the Special Forces soldiers on the team. Clear proof she's far stronger than any of them. They're all stunned by her superhuman power, unable to understand where she gets this strength and energy. After she finishes them off, she grabs a weapon and escapes quickly. At the same time, their boss stands at the edge of the forest, trying to lure her into the trap he set. Suddenly, he sees a red dot on his body. Realizing realizing someone's aiming a weapon at him. He discovers the woman is standing right in front of him, approaching fast and cautiously. Before she shoots, he presses a device in his hand, causing her intense pain. She collapses to the ground, screaming. It's clear he knows her weakness very well, a weakness shared by all Apex members. They can't withstand high-frequency sonic waves because their bodies are built differently from normal people. At this moment, the man thinks he's beaten her and can finally get rid of them, not realizing she's playing him and using him. He starts mocking her and the whole organization, ridiculing them openly. She seizes the opportunity, grabs a big tree branch, quickly deals with the device, finishes him off in seconds, takes his car, and speeds away, desperate to find her daughter. Unaware her daughter is infected with the virus and in critical condition. The girl is transferred to intensive care and put in quarantine, her condition worsening. Meanwhile, Jad and the others stand on the shore, watching the fireworks when suddenly they hear a massive explosion nearby. He tells his son to stay put while he goes to check what's happening and comes back. When he gets there, he finds the corpse of the assistant security office director thrown onto the car, covered with a piece of cloth. Inside, he finds a clear message written. When he returns to the shore, he discovers his son is missing and has no idea what happened. He jumps into his car, turns on the GPS, and tries to locate his son through his phone. Forced to drive fast, he runs a red light. Suddenly, he gets a call from the same woman, who threatens him directly, telling him she's taken his son until he brings her daughter back. She says she can't reach her daughter, and he's the only one who can help. She hangs up before he can reply. When Jad arrives at his son's location, neither his son nor the woman are there. He just finds the phone tossed in the car with no clue to help him find his son. After thinking it through, he's forced to accept her offer and agrees to find her daughter and return her at the right time. As soon as he gets there, he finds the security office stationed outside, refusing to let Jad in because his rank doesn't allow it. To save his son, Jad breaks the law and forces his way in, driving up until the guards stop him and threaten him with their weapons. At that moment, the detective arrives, and Jad tells her everything that happened in detail. Despite all this, the detective refuses to hand over the girl, insisting she can't break the law. She takes Jad to show him the girl's condition, explaining that she's very sick, and if they disconnect her from the machines, she'll die immediately. Jad is left helpless, not knowing how to save his son. The doctor tells him the girl's condition is critical. She only has a day or two left at most. When she sees Jad determined to take the girl, she remembers what the girl said before she passed out, that only her mother can heal her. Jad and the doctor start searching for the woman to bring her as fast as possible to save the girl's life. They grab a car and escape quickly before the detective notices. Meanwhile, the woman takes Jad's son, and they sit by the sea for a while. The boy asks her if they can go fishing, so she approaches the nearby fishermen to borrow a rod. When they refuse, she resorts to violence, taking all their fishing gear and returning to the boy. They fish together, and he teaches her how because she doesn't know how. At that moment, Jad. He searches her room carefully and takes her work laptop, sits down to inspect it, and brings it to the police station. He asks the technician to extract all the data and documents from it. He's shocked when he finds out about a very mysterious incident that happened 10 years ago. A group of people suddenly appeared, including the security chief himself. Meanwhile, Hawa goes to meet the security chief after she killed the detective. When they enter the building, there are many people waiting for them, and we realize they're the same group who came together from the future years ago. They're here on a very specific mission, to prevent the creation of the Apex organization from the very beginning, in order to change their future. After much searching, they discover that Apex was originally formed based on a proposal from some current-day experts. They see their only solution is to kill all those experts and stop them from founding the organization. Each person uses their own expertise with extreme precision, blending in among people and acting cautiously. They build lots of relationships and earn the trust and affection of those around them, exploiting the situation perfectly to eliminate the experts one by one without anyone suspecting them. The only one who doesn't follow through is the security chief, and because of him, the organization is still founded and nobody suspects anything. The whole matter stays completely secret, with nobody knowing the details. When 400 people arrive in the present, they realize their plan has failed and the organization still exists. Of course, the security chief tries to cover up his failure so he won't be punished, deciding to silence anyone who knows what happened and protect himself. That's why he kidnaps the survivor who knows the whole truth. At this time, the doctor tries every way to treat the little girl, carefully injecting her with her mother's bone marrow. The girl's health improves rapidly, and she regains consciousness after a few hours. When she's able to walk again, her mother is relieved and truly happy. The police also give them permission to go out for a walk and get some fresh air. By coincidence, the girl meets a strange man who gives her a postcard with mysterious symbols written on it. She takes it and hides it in her pocket, then goes off to play happily with Jad's son. Her mother seizes the chance while her daughter is in the bathroom and decides to grab her and escape escape quickly before anyone sees them. She doesn't know that Jad is waiting by the bathroom, anticipating her every move. Before she tries to use force against him, she's surprised to find that he's helping them, gently unlocking the handcuffs on the little girl. He decides to repay the woman's kindness since she didn't hurt his son and treated him well. She thanks him deeply and promises she'll never forget his favor. She takes her daughter, gets in the car, and escapes at high speed. They spend all night together in a hotel far from anyone. Suddenly, the woman senses an unusual sound. Her hearing is extremely sharp and discovers that the teddy bear her daughter is holding contains a tracking device. She quickly leaves it behind in the hotel and flees again with her daughter. She notices someone is following her and tries every possible way to escape. But unfortunately, the car tire bursts and the vehicle breaks down. She's forced to get out and confront the person herself, finding herself surrounded from all sides. Sadly, they outnumber her by far, and she can't defeat them. In the end, they overpower her and her daughter. The next day, the police find the detective's body dumped in the forest. When they inspect the corpse, they don't find her weapon, so they search the refugee complex, suspecting one of them. They find her gun in one of their rooms. It turns out to be Paul's by coincidence. He's arrested and taken in. Despite all this, Jad is completely convinced Paul is innocent. When he thinks through the details, he realizes she's been missing for at least 10 days and wonders why her body was only found today in that spot. He's sure there's a dangerous secret behind everything happening around them. After a heated argument between him and the police, Paul is imprisoned and sits in the interrogation room for questioning. Suddenly, Hawa enters and tries to calm him, explaining she's not to blame for everything happening. She says she was just following orders so their plan could succeed and save the world. She asks him to sacrifice himself too, gives him some papers, and asks him to read them carefully and say everything he knows during the investigation. She records everything he says in detail, then leaves immediately. At the same time, Jad investigates the matter and manages to reach the leader of the survivors. She explains that she invented the time machine and helped 2 groups travel through time so far. She discovered that the first group lost control and started acting on their own, so she created a second group and decided to travel with them herself. She tells him that the security chief was one of them, one of the first group, and shares everything about Hawa and Paul and all their details. Jad quickly searches for Hawa, but when he finds she's completely disappeared, he contacts Paul and learns from him about the deal they made when they met. They want to prove that all the current survivors came here to carry out terrorist operations. Paul sees that they're doing all this so the security chief can get rid of all the survivors easily without anyone questioning his motives, since they know future secrets and could expose him at any time. As soon as Jad gets the information he wants, he ends the conversation. At that moment, Hawa is standing nearby, hearing everything being said. She gets furious with her husband and calmly kills him, ready to do anything to complete her plan with the security chief and protect him so nobody exposes them. Meanwhile, Jad devises a plan to rescue the survivors, getting them to go on strike, which causes chaos in the area. He passes on extremely dangerous information until everyone realizes their lives are in danger. They decide to cooperate to carry out Jad's plan. A few days later, the security chief talks with them, trying to reassure them so they won't suspect him. He insists that the government will give them new identities and they'll be able to live safely among ordinary people without anyone harming them. He convinces them they must take certain vaccines so nobody gets infected with the virus. But it's clear what he's brought isn't vaccines as he claims. It's poison to eliminate them. At that moment, Rodrigo forces his way in with his car, getting past all the security guards at the gate. We realize it's all just a distraction, and the main plan has succeeded. They've managed to break into the place easily without anyone noticing, taking out the guards one by one until the security chief comes out and discovers they're all dead, and realizes that something's wrong, so he calls the main center and urgently requests backup. Jad uses this chance to gather all the survivors and hides them in a room, locks the door, and one of the guards lies to the security chief, telling him all the survivors escaped. Suddenly, one of Jad's men cuts the power to the whole place. Then they break through the electric fence and help all the survivors escape quickly. The little girl is reunited with her mother, who's relieved her daughter is now safe and completely recovered from the illness. Meanwhile, the security chief's men try to fix the electricity, but unfortunately the fence gets electrified again, killing the last girl who was trying to escape. The survivors manage to flee and save their lives from death, but the only thing stopping them from living a normal life is that they need real identities. After a while, Jad figures out a way to help them and provides all of them with new identities, wishing them a fresh start far from trouble. The big twist is that the security chief was behind it all and actually wanted to help them. He was fed up and didn't want to keep killing innocent people or continue with the stupid plan they were following. That's why he helped Jad and gave them all the documents they needed to make up for everything he'd done to them before. He's sure this is the only right choice he's ever made in his life.